pricey rock. NASA could be $4.7 billion richer if it caught the asteroid which has a close encounter with Earth tomorrow. Or in other words, guess what? The sun is wrong again. This time in a different way. As you may know, Asteroid Nereus is approaching Earth at around 3.9 million kilometres away. Not, as I talked about last time, anywhere near hitting us. So, let's get something else wrong about it. The source for the sun's claim is a site called Asterank. It estimates the value of an asteroid from its composition, or what we think its composition might be, and then uses its accessibility. How easy would it be to get to and return from given its orbital parameters, from which you can roughly estimate a return on investment and a rough idea of a profit for the asteroid. Asterank rates the value of Nereus as around $4.7 billion. So that's how the article gets the idea that NASA could be $4.7 billion richer. Now you may have noticed a very obvious problem here. As said later on in the same article by The Sun, by some reports the space rock named Nereus is worth an estimated $5 billion in precious materials. NASA would not be $4.7 billion richer. That's the estimated value. They actually have to get to the thing and get back and bring all the stuff there. It's entirely rubbish. NASA would not be $4.7 billion richer. The actual estimated profit from Asterank is more around the sort of 1.4 billion mark, because, unsurprisingly, getting into space like that costs a lot of money. But of course that's just taking their numbers. It's important to estimate it. It's important to actually think about the values that you're looking at. When you do that, it gets worse. I mean, remember, the cost of a material depends on its availability. Really good example of this is aluminium. The Washington Monument was capped with aluminium because at the time it was so valuable. But then we found better ways to separate it from the minerals it generally finds itself with. The result, rather obviously, was that the material became much less valuable. The effect of mining Nereus would be less severe, but you still need to consider that the value which Asterank gives is based on value now, not what you'd actually expect once you bought the thing back. If you did actually bring an asteroid's worth of material back down to Earth, in this case mostly iron, nickel and cobalt, the price of those materials would change because we know there's this supply. It wouldn't make much odds for iron. We mine about 3 billion tonnes of ore each year for iron, and we have an enormous stock of old iron to remelt. But if you consider something like cobalt, where we only mine about 140,000 metric tonnes each year, there could be a drop in value if we bring an entire asteroid's worth of stuff back, which makes that 4.7 billion an overestimate. And also, let's be honest, while Asterank is a very good source for finding out about asteroids and looking at interesting targets for asteroid mining, the cost of the mission which it estimates is not some serious technical estimation that people have spent months poring over. They lay out their methodology in the About page and it's interesting. But whether an actual mission to mine an asteroid would cost that much is dubious. I mean, to give you a quote from the About page, mining costs are factored in as a flat percentage of potential value. This is fine to give you a quick estimate and an idea, but let's be honest, it's wrong and it's going to underestimate the difficulty of the new science of asteroid mining. But that would involve actually thinking about the limitations of the numbers that you've been given, of actually working out whether something is as valuable as one source says it is, or of whether the costs or the profits are in some way biased or over or underestimated. And let's be honest, there's a news cycle on and we apparently can't even be asked to distinguish value from profit. I'll leave you with this. The thing is, space science, especially the sort of background work done by organisations like NASA, is slow, and the value that comes from it is difficult to put a number on. I do worry that headlines like these, where you put a massive potential prize in front of NASA, the idea of billions in profit, will that result in problems for the organisation? Because their actual progress, even if it's fantastic stuff, looks bad compared to the exaggerated expectations we set up with articles like these. It's a sad thought, but we'll see if it works out.